The sirens that rang through the Galaxy Council's grand chamber had never sounded before, not in simulations, not in drills, not even during the ancient wars that nearly ended half the universe. They were reserved for a single situation, an extinction-level planetary invasion. Delegates of 43 species stood frozen beneath the towering glass crystal ceiling as the holographic display flared to life, projecting a real-time feed across their panoramic chamber. The image zoomed across the void of space, through the red-tinged atmosphere of a single blue world, and into the chaos unfolding below. Earth. A planet once considered harmless, unsophisticated, unstable. A civilization known more for conflict and emotion than diplomacy or logic. The Council had long spoken of humans in dismissive tones, warning their children about the unpredictable species that believed too strongly in hope, loyalty, and rebellion, a species that refused to bow. Now Earth burned under a storm of plasma fire. Dozens of colossal warships of the Zareth Dominion descended through clouds lit red from atmospheric friction. The Dominion, an empire feared across 10 galaxies, had never been challenged in open war. Planets surrendered before their fleets arrived. Entire civilizations knelt without resistance. Their war carriers alone were the size of cities, each loaded with weapons capable of sterilizing continents. Explosions tore across Earth's horizon. Shock waves rippled through oceans. Skyscrapers crumbled. The planet's defense shields sparked and flickered as they strained against relentless bombardment. Firestorms raged along every coast. In the council chamber, silence reigned. Heavy, suffocating. Counselor Syraxis of the Vornkai, tall and crystalline with a voice like chimes, whispered, "It has begun. The Dominion delivered on their threat. They are annihilating Earth." Counselor Mariath, whose translucent skin quivered with fear, gripped the railing around the hologram platform. "Humanity will be gone in hours. There will be no survivors. Their technology is centuries behind the Dominion. This is slaughter." Several delegates bowed their heads. A few covered their faces in sorrow or shame. Because the Dominion's attack did not come without warning. It came because of the Council's decision. Weeks earlier, the Galaxy Council had voted unanimously to expel humanity from interstellar politics. The reason was trivial, a dispute over mining rights on an uninhabited moon. But the real reason was older, deeper, fear disguised as arrogance. Humans expanded too fast, adapted too quickly, survived too much. Their innovations reshaped entire industries overnight. Their scientists solved problems that baffled species 1,000 years older. And worst of all, they did so without permission, without obedience, and without limits. The final insult came when humanity refused to surrender their discoveries. During the heated hearing, a young human diplomat, Ambassador Elias Draven, had stood proudly in the center of this very chamber, his voice steady, eyes blazing with conviction. Humanity does not kneel. Not to tyrants, not to cowards, not to those who fear progress. The Council had done what frightened governments often do. They removed the problem. They had cast Earth out. Now Earth bled. Admiral Vorak of the Herculean Alliance slammed his armored fist onto the platform so hard the crystal cracked beneath his strength. "We must intervene. Billions will die if we do nothing." "No," Chancellor Melivar spat, his scaled face tightening. "We interfere and the Dominion will attack us next. We cannot afford war." Vorak bared his fangs. "And so we watch genocide?" Melivar turned away. "Unity." Vorak roared. "You mean obedience." Others murmured. Debate erupted. Fear, guilt, anger twisting through every voice. In the midst of chaos, the hologram flickered. The feed shifted closer to space, revealing the Dominion fleet surrounding Earth. Their formation tightened, turning orbital bombardment into surgical devastation. Then something changed. First one ship, then another. Dominion war carriers began exploding from the inside. A ripple of confusion swept through the council chamber. "What is happening?" Marieth cried. Syraxis leaned forward, eyes wide. "Their internal shielding failures across the fleet. Something is tearing through their core reactors." A streak of blinding silver light shot up from Earth's surface, small, impossibly fast, leaving trails of burning plasma twisting like ribbons behind it. It accelerated with a gravitational violation that made no physical sense. It wasn't falling away from Earth. It was climbing straight into the Dominion fleet. Dozens of Dominion destroyers opened fire at once, beams of white energy converging on the streak. The light vanished, only to reappear above them, moving faster than any recorded ship in known history. It tore through the Dominion command carrier with a burst that split space itself. A ring of shockwave energy rippled outward, shredding 7 nearby carriers with effortless violence. Metal, debris, and fire scattered into orbit in a silent cosmic bloom. Every delegate froze. Marieth's voice cracked. What weapon is that?" The streak slowed, revealing a sleek black warship unlike anything built in the last 1,000 years. Its hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Blue runes of unknown energy pulsed across its surface. Syraxis trembled. "That is not Council technology, nor Dominion. That is impossible." A transmission signal surged into the council chamber, overriding their systems. The chamber lights dimmed, the hologram expanded. A human appeared, calm, composed, armored in a polished black command suit with glowing blue accents. Admiral Alexandra Hayes. Her dark eyes cut through every species present. "To the Galaxy Council," she began, her voice steady as steel. "Humanity warned you. We told you the Dominion was preparing for war. You laughed. You exiled us. You called us reckless, dangerous, primitive." Delegates shifted uncomfortably, shame hanging thick as smoke. Hayes continued. "And now you watch while they rain fire on our home. But understand this. Humanity does not die quietly. We do not break. We adapt." Behind her, more ships rose from Earth. Hundreds, sleek, dark, and glowing with the same impossible energy. Not one resembled the outdated fleets Earth supposedly owned. They moved like predators unleashed from chains. The Dominion fleet panicked, opening fire wildly. It did nothing. Human ships slipped between beams like ghosts, shields rippling like water. It fired a single shot, a beam of condensed energy so dense that it cut through 20 Dominion cruisers in a single pass. Admiral Hayes spoke one final line. "You thought exiling us would weaken us. Instead, you forced us to evolve. So watch closely, Council, because today the galaxy learns what humanity truly is." Silence. Not fear. Awe. The warship turned, engines flaring with a soundless roar, and accelerated toward the Dominion command fleet. The Council stared, trembling, realizing the truth. Humanity was never fragile. Humanity was never alone. Humanity was ready. And now nothing, not the Dominion, not the Council, not fate itself, could stop them.
For a long, breathless moment, the Galaxy Council chamber existed in stunned silence. The hologram display continued to stream the battlefield, but no one spoke, no one moved. Every delicate watched the black warship carve a burning path through the Dominion fleet like a blade of pure vengeance. Admiral Alexandra Hayes had not merely threatened retaliation, she had promised revelation, and the universe was witnessing it unfold in real time. The Dominion fleet regrouped, repositioning into a defensive shield wall designed to contain superweapons. Thousands of cannons converged on the single Onyx vessel, firing continuous streams of annihilation energy capable of melting moons. The beams lanced through space like burning spears. The human warship vanished. No teleport signature, no distortion, no wormhole. It simply disappeared, then reappeared behind the Dominion's heavy support carriers, releasing a pulse of shimmering energy. The carriers shuddered violently, their hulls disintegrating into dust. The council delegates gasped in unison. "That should be impossible," murmured High Scholar Othellos, his 4 luminous eyes wide. "No known propulsion drives can achieve simultaneous spatial phase shifting. Even theoretical designs require infinite power density." Admiral Vorak, trembling with rage and awe, snarled, "Humans build what others do not dare to imagine." Chancellor Melivar slammed his fist into the control panel, silencing him. "This is an abomination. No species should possess such technology. We must—" "Must what?" Vorak cut in. "Admit we were wrong? Admit that humanity surpassed us while we mocked them?" Melivar's scaled throat tightened. His voice slipped into a whisper. "That technology threatens the balance of the galaxy." Vorak leaned close, eyes burning. "The balance was shattered when we betrayed them." The hologram zoomed outward, revealing the full scope of Earth's response. More warships rose from the planet, sleek, predatory, glowing with the same blue energy. Dozens became hundreds, forming a tight phalanx around the flagship Apex Sovereign. The council chamber erupted with arguments. Panic, shame, fear, and disbelief swirled like a storm. A robotic delegate from the Makari Collective processed the data aloud. "Human fleet energy signatures, unknown. Thermal output indicates power beyond antimatter combustion. Equivalent projection, Dark Zero reactors." Silence fell like a blade. Dark Zero reactors were theoretical, impossible. They required bending space-time itself to extract energy from quantum vacuum instability. The greatest minds of the Council considered it pure fantasy. And Earth, exiled, insulted, abandoned, had done it in secret. "They were advancing under our noses," Mariaths whispered. "All this time they were preparing." "No," Vorak corrected grimly. "We forced them to prepare." The Dominion flagship repositioned, its immense crimson hull shimmering as energy surged around its weapon ports. The ship's monstrous supercannon, able to crack a planet's crust, charged with an apocalyptic brightness. The chamber shook as the blast fired. The beam was massive enough to blind sensors, a white spear that split darkness itself, scorching through space as it hurtled toward the Apex Sovereign. The flagship did not evade. Instead, the hull unfolded like shifting armor plates, revealing a brilliant core of swirling cobalt energy. The beam struck, only to bend, twisting like light refracted through glass. It curved harmlessly away, spiraling into open space. Shock rippled through every species watching. "That is not a shield," Athelos whispered. "It is a gravitational refractor. They are bending physics to their will." Hayes' voice returned, resonating through the chamber. "Dominion, superweapon neutralized. Return fire." A single pulse fired from the apex sovereign, silent, radiant, concentrated beyond comprehension. Where the Dominion flagship had been, space rippled, and then nothing. No wreckage, no debris. The ship simply ceased to exist. The entire Dominion armada faltered. Ships broke formation, desperate to retreat. Some collided, others fled through emergency warp, abandoning discipline and strategy. The unstoppable conquerors were running for their lives. The council sat frozen, breathless. Athelos voiced the fear no one wanted to speak. If humanity chooses revenge, they could wipe out civilizations like dust. "Revenge?" Vorak growled. "After what we allowed, they have every right to burn this chamber to ash." Melavar rose to his feet, voice sharp with panic. "We must contact the Dominion immediately. We must negotiate a ceasefire. If the humans win this war, they will become the most dominant force in the galaxy. We must protect ourselves." "Protect ourselves? You still do not understand. Humanity is not conquering. They are surviving. We forced their evolution." Melavar struggled, gasping. "Put me down. This is treason." "No," Vorak growled, dropping him onto the crystal floor. "This is justice." The hologram shifted again, now displaying a different battlefield, deep space beyond Saturn's orbit. Dominion reinforcements emerged from warp, thousands strong, a counterattack meant to overwhelm Earth's defenses. But something waited for them. A structure, massive, metallic, ring-shaped, glowing with pulsing blue light. Dozens of human ships stood guard. Athelos' voice cracked. "Is that a Dyson gate? No civilization has ever completed such a structure." The structure ignited, opening like an awakening star. A vortex of swirling energy roared to life, and from within ships emerged, not human, but alien. Allies. Dozens of species long oppressed by the Dominion, races the Council believed extinct, worlds the Council abandoned out of cowardice and convenience. One by one they appeared, armed, battle-ready, united under a single banner. A single symbol blazed across their hulls, the Alliance of the Free. Miriath stared, trembling. "Humans built a coalition. Without us." "They did what we were too afraid to do," Vorak said quietly. "They inspired unity." Hayes' voice returned for the third time, calm, resolute, unwavering. "To the Galaxy Council, you believed we stood alone. You believed we were weak. But we built something greater than fear. We built hope." The apex sovereign turned toward the remnants of the Dominion fleet. "And now, the Dominion learns consequence." Miriaths whispered the truth aloud. "Humanity isn't fighting to survive anymore." Silence answered. "They're fighting to win." The Council watched as the united fleet surged forward, humanity at its spearhead, a force unstoppable, furious, righteous. And in that moment, every delegate understood. Earth was not the target. Earth was the warning. The galaxy would never be the same again. The darkness beyond Saturn erupted into war. The Dominion reinforcements, more than 3,000 warships strong, materialized in tight formation, their crimson armor gleaming like a metallic storm. These were not border patrol vessels or opportunistic raiders. These were the Dominion's elite war legions, the Crucible Armada, undefeated in over 800 years. Their arrival should have guaranteed Earth's annihilation. Instead, they were met by an armada unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The human fleet held the center line, black and silver hulls shimmering with blue quantum energy, engines burning like caged stars. Flanking them, in sweeping arcs, were alien vessels belonging to species rumored extinct. The serpentine Thaurine, the crystalline Colaris, the pneumatic Surakai, and dozens more. Nations that had disappeared under Dominion conquest and were now reborn under a new banner, the Alliance of the Free. The Dominion Admiral, Lord Zenith Varkor, triggered a galaxy-spanning broadcast, his face appearing across the council chamber and battlefield alike. His voice was icy, confident, dripping with contempt. To the traitor species of Earth and your pathetic gathered slaves, surrender your stolen technology and kneel. Humanity's foolish defiance has doomed you. Your extinction will be swift. He paused, allowing silence to settle like ash. You had your chance to submit. Now you will be erased. Many in the council chamber flinched. Even the bravest felt the weight of history behind Varkor's words. Entire civilizations had vanished beneath that same threat. But on the battlefield, Admiral Hayes stepped forward into view, projecting herself to every screen, every ship, every star. Her voice cut like a blade. Your empire ends today. Not shouted, not raged, spoken with absolute certainty. Behind her, the Apex Sovereign's engines ignited with a thunderous pulse that made the hologram tremble. Blue quantum light surged like lightning across its hull. We are done begging for peace. We are done burying our dead. We are done running. The humans standing beside her saluted, thousands strong. You wanted war. Her eyes hardened. Now face humanity. The battlefield exploded. Human and Dominion ships clashed in a storm of luminous weapon fire. The Apex Sovereign spearheaded the assault, slicing into the heart of the Dominion formation. Plasma lances and quantum bursts tore ships apart faster than alarms could trigger. Shockwaves rippled through space like thunder rolling across a black sky. The Dominion fleet answered with overwhelming fire, saturating the battlefield with planet-killer weaponry. Dozens of human ships were struck, shields flaring violently. Some vaporized instantly. Others, crippled, still charged forward, refusing retreat. For every human ship destroyed, 3 Dominion vessels fell. But the Dominion adapted quickly. Their massive dreadnoughts repositioned, encircling human flanks. Boarding torpedoes launched, smashing through attackers. Explosions littered the void like burning stars. And then, the Dominion unleashed their ultimate weapon. From within the heart of their formation emerged a colossal vessel 10 times the size of the apex sovereign. Its scarlet armor gleamed like freshly drawn blood, and its forward hull split open, revealing a swirling vortex of black energy. Athelos gasped in the council chamber. No, they couldn't have. Mariath's voice cracked. A null singularity cannon. It collapses space into a tear, an artificial black hole. It will consume everything. Vorak slammed his fist against the railing. They will destroy their own fleet just to wipe out humanity. The cannon fired. A vortex of darkness tore open in the center of the battlefield, ripping matter apart at the molecular level. Ships screamed into the void, crushed into oblivion. Hundreds vanished instantly, Dominion and Alliance alike. The battlefield spiraled into chaos. The apex sovereign fought against the gravitational pull, engines burning white-hot. Hull fragments and bodies spun around it like debris caught in a storm. Human ships linked shields, forming a lattice, desperately resisting the collapse. But it wasn't enough. One after another, their shields cracked. Screams echoed, flames erupted. At the front of the apex sovereign, Captain Rhea Collins slammed her fist onto the emergency console. Admiral, core containment failing. If we stay, we're dead. Hayes stared into the abyss, calculating, furious, unyielding. Divert quantum lattice power to hull stabilization. Prepare to activate the Lancer array. Her officers stared at her shocked. Admiral, activating the Lancer will overload the core. Do it. The command brooked no argument. The apex sovereign's hull glowed blinding blue. Runes ignited down its spine like awakening gods. The bow unfolded, revealing the Lancer array, a massive cannon forged from crystallized space-time. The council chamber went silent. Athelos whispered, "Impossible. That weapon was banned by every galactic accord. It reconfigures energy into dimensional rupture." The apex sovereign fired. The beam punched through space itself, piercing the heart of the singularity cannon. The Dominion super-dreadnought detonated in a burst of anti-light, an explosion that didn't expand but collapsed, eating itself into nothingness before releasing a shockwave that ripped through the armada. Dozens of Dominion capital ships shattered. The battlefield went silent as wreckage drifted. Then chaos resumed. But even as the Dominion fell back, Admiral Hayes staggered, gripping the command rail. The apex sovereign's engines flickered violently. "Admiral, core integrity failing, collapse imminent." The bridge rattled as power failed across multiple decks. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Officers clung to railings. "Evacuation?" Collins shouted. Hayes shook her head. "No. The Sovereign holds the line." The Dominion fleet regrouped for a final desperate assault. The United Alliance fleet braced. And on the council floor, something shifted. Delegates arose, not in fear, but in resolution. The consequences of their cowardice bared before them. Their shame transformed into fury. For the first time in centuries, the council breathed unity. Vorak stepped forward, voice booming. "Enough hiding. Enough fear. Humanity fights for us all." He turned to the council. "Vote now. Do we join them, or do we stand as cowards while heroes die?" Silence hung like a blade. Then one by one, hands were raised. Mariath, Athelos, the Makari, even long neutral species once too frightened to speak. For the first time in galactic history, the vote was unanimous. The council would go to war. As the council erupted into motion, Melivar watched with cold fury, his eyes narrowing. He reached beneath his robe, activating a concealed communicator. Phase 2 begins.
The council war room blazed with frantic activity, lights flickering like signals of desperation. For the first time in centuries, the Galaxy Council had voted for war, an act historians would later call the turning of the stars. But there was no triumph in that moment, no cheers, only the crushing knowledge that they were late, terribly, unforgivably late. Fleet marshals relayed orders. Engineers awakened ancient mothballed warships older than empires. Communications officers screamed coordinates across systems. Fear had become urgency. Cowardice transformed into resolve. Admiral Vorak stood at the center, towering over the holotable as star maps blazed with battle telemetry. "We launch every functional vessel," he commanded. "No reserves! We break the Dominion, or we die." "And humanity?" asked Mariath, voice trembling. "Will they accept our aid?" Vorak stared into the hologram, displaying the apex sovereign, the human flagship burning fiercely against impossible odds, hull splitting, reactors screaming. "They will not reject anyone willing to bleed beside them." But behind the chaos, hidden in shadow, Chancellor Melivar moved silently. His scaled fingers danced across a concealed interface, sending encrypted commands through a private channel. His eyes gleamed with cold certainty. Phase 2 will proceed. The humans must fall before they seize power. The galaxy cannot survive another empire. He closed the interface, masking his calm beneath the facade of urgency. The battlefield, Saturn orbit. The apex sovereign trembled under the Dominion's relentless assault. Sections of the ship vented fire and vaporized metal into space as emergency bulkheads sealed. Whole decks flickered with white emergency lighting. Hundreds lay dead. Thousands fought on. In the command center, alarms blared in overlapping panic. "Reactor containment at 26% and falling. Quantum lattice collapsing. Forward shields gone. Hull breach in sections 14 through 22. Captain Rhea Collins clung to the railing, blood streaking her forehead. "Admiral, we can't take another volley." Hayes's jaw tightened. She looked at the massive Dominion fleet regrouping, their cannons glowing with the sickly red light of recharged annihilation shots. "We hold. We don't break." The words carried more than command. They carried history. The Dominion dreadnoughts unleashed a second volley. Explosions tore chunks from the Sovereign's wings. The massive ship reeled like a wounded beast, trailing fire across the void. The Alliance fleet surged desperately, alien ships throwing themselves into enemy fire to shield the flagship. One by one, they fell, crystals shattering, hulls folding, crews screaming until debris clouded the battlefield. But their sacrifice bought time, because space itself tore open. The Council fleet arrived. A storm of light rippled through the void as hundreds of Council warships erupted from warp. Colossal carriers of the Herculean Alliance, needle-shaped frigates of the Kelaris,
swarm fighter clouds of the Makari Collective, war banners ignited. Fleet Admiral Vorak appeared on the battlefield broadcast, eyes burning with fury. To humanity and the Alliance of the Free, the Council stands with you! Admiral Hayes looked up, stunned, as Council vessels formed a wall behind the apex sovereign. "About damn time," Collins muttered breathlessly. Hayes nodded once, sharply. "Council fleet, form phalanx! Concentrate fire on the Dominion dreadnought line. We push them back together." The Council fleet opened fire. The void filled with blinding arcs of plasma and gravitational lances powerful enough to rip moons apart. Dominion ships exploded in succession, torn open like paper under razor blades of pure energy. Their once perfect formation wavered, fractured, then collapsed. For the first time in history, the Dominion faltered before their enemies. Cheers erupted across Alliance ships. The Council chamber back on Auriga Prime filled with stunned tears. This was hope, real hope. But Melivar's voice crackled through a secret channel deep within the Council fleet. "Execute Phase 2. Alpha Red, now." Across the Council armada, several dozen warships, hidden under neutral registry, activated dormant systems. Hull plates shifted, revealing Dominion insignia. Weapons rotated toward their allies. Without warning, they opened fire. The Council formation erupted in explosions. Entire squadrons vanished in fire. Battleships tore apart from the inside. Vorak's command dreadnought shook violently under the betrayal. "What treachery is this?" Vorak roared. Mariath stared at the readouts, horrified. "Those ships, they were infiltrated long ago. Dominion sleeper fleets. Inside our ranks." Chaos tore through the battle lines. The Council fleet split, unsure who was friend or foe. The Dominion seized the moment, surging forward in a brutal counterattack. The apex sovereign took a direct hit, violently lurching. Emergency restraints snapped. Officers were thrown across consoles. "Core breach in 90 seconds." Hayes wiped blood from her mouth, eyes blazing. "Not yet." She turned to her crew. "Prepare to fire the Lancer again." Collins stared in disbelief. "Admiral, the core will collapse. We'll be wiped out." "Better us than the galaxy." She activated her command channel, voice echoing across fleets. "All Allied vessels, fall back behind the Sovereign. We will clear a path." Silence answered. Then hundreds of voices responded at once. "We'll stand with you. Humanity does not fight alone. Lead us." Melivar, still unnoticed, bared his teeth. "Fools, you think they will stop at victory. Humanity will rule you all." He keyed in the final command. "Activate the Oblivion Wave." Far beyond the battle, a hidden weapons station activated. An ancient superweapon sealed by the original Council founders, a device forbidden by every treaty. Its core spun, building catastrophic energy. And its target was Earth. Back in the Council chamber, alarms shrieked. Atello stared at the readings, face draining of color. "It's a planet killer. It will collapse Earth's magnetic core. Humanity will die instantly." Vorak turned slowly, eyes burning with murderous clarity. "Who authorized this?" Mariath's hands trembled. As she pointed, "Him." Every head turned toward Melivar. He did not deny it. His voice rang cold and righteous. "Humanity is a threat greater than the Dominion. If they survive today, they will dominate the galaxy. I do what is must be done." Vorak's roar shook the chamber. "You coward! You damned monster!" He lunged, claws raised, but before he reached Melivar, the chamber lights shattered, every hologram turning to static. Admiral Hayes appeared, blooded, bruised, unbroken. "Listen well," she said softly, every word burning. "Humanity never wanted power. We wanted peace." The hologram zoomed out, revealing a massive structure rising from Earth's surface, glowing in pulsing patterns like a heartbeat. Atelos gasped in recognition. "The Paragon Core, the rumored project to stabilize galactic quantum flow. It's not a weapon, it's salvation." Hayes nodded. "We weren't building war, we were building a future." The chamber went silent. "And now you must choose, stand with us or watch everything burn." Behind her, the Apex Sovereign's core reached full charge. The Lancer array glowed like a star about to be born. The Dominion fleet braced. The Sleeper fleet aligned weapons. The Oblivion wave charged toward Earth. The galaxy held its breath.
The war room aboard the Apex Sovereign pulsed with deep blue ambient light, casting long shadows across the bustling operations floor. Holograms flickered, battle maps, fleet trajectories, encrypted transmissions. Officers sprinted between stations, urgency rising with each passing second. Admiral Alexandra Hayes stood at the command platform like a statue carved of steel and conviction. The collar of her uniform glowed faintly with an identification quantum tag, proof she carried full command access. Her eyes scanned the chaos without blinking. "Status on Saturn perimeter," she demanded. Captain Riven, her second in command, exhaled sharply. "Dominion reinforcements breached the outer checkpoint 17 minutes ago, casualty projections hitting critical levels. If the line breaks, they reach the inner solar system." Hayes' jaw tightened. "Then it doesn't break." As she spoke, another hologram materialized, an encrypted urgent channel. The signature identified the caller instantly. Chairwoman Mariath, Galaxy Council. The bridge fell silent. Hayes allowed the connection. Mariath's translucent image appeared, exhausted, shaken, her regal composure cracked like broken glass. "Admiral Hayes," she began, voice trembling. "This must stop. The Dominion has initiated total annihilation protocols. They will destroy every human world. There will be no survivors." Hayes stared back, expression unreadable. "Then they will find none willing to die quietly." "You misunderstand," Mariath insisted. "They're preparing to deploy the Eclipse Protocol, a weapon that consumes stars. If triggered near your sun, it will collapse your entire system." The bridge froze. Riven muttered, "A star killer? That's impossible." "No," Hayes whispered, eyes narrowing as memories surged. "Not impossible. Rumored." Mariath pressed on. "The Council believed it only theoretical, but that was another lie. They built it in secret. The Dominion never needed the Council's permission. They only needed our silence. We handed them power because we feared chaos, and in doing so, we guaranteed it." Hayes' voice dropped to a low, dangerous calm. "Why tell us now?" Mariath closed her eyes, agony twisting her features. "Because I know what we've done. Because we deserve punishment. But not extinction. Not this." Hayes leaned in, voice like a blade. "Then give us everything. Specs, locations, access codes." Mariath inhaled shakily. "Uploading now." The transmission injected into the Sovereign's tactical systems, spiraling across the holographic displays. A massive object appeared far beyond Pluto's orbit, dark, angular, shaped like a colossal black spire suspended in space. Label: Dominion Star Eclipse Array, Omega Praxis. Projected activation time: 59 minutes. The room erupted. Riven slammed his fists on the console. 59 minutes! That's a suicide mission! Hayes turned, voice razor-edged. Prepare strike teams. Every ship capable of jump insertion moves now. Admiral Marieth pleaded, "You can't face this alone. Let the Council provide support." "No." Hayes cut her off without hesitation. "This is humanity's fight. Those soldiers will die. Better warriors have died for less important reasons." Marieth hesitated, then whispered, "Alexandra, if you succeed, if you destroy it, humanity will hold power no empire can challenge again. What will you do with that power?" Hayes looked straight into her eyes. "We will build a galaxy of equals, something the Council never dared." The channel cut. The last mobilization. Klaxons blared across every deck of the Sovereign as orders rippled through the fleet. Hangar bays opened, revealing rows of soldiers in blackjack armor lined like obsidian statues. Their helmets bore a simple emblem, a blue star split by a silver line. The symbol of resistance, the symbol of Earth reborn. General Mara Solis, commander of ground and boarding forces, paced before her troops, cybernetic arm gleaming under white floods. "Listen up," she roared. "The Dominion wants to end the human story. They want us erased, from memory, from history, from the future. They believe fear can shape destiny." Her voice thundered. "But they forgot what humanity becomes when survival is put in jeopardy. We become monsters of determination. We become warriors of impossible odds. We become the nightmare tyrants wake screaming about." A unified roar tore through the formation. "Today, we stab straight into the heart of the Dominion's greatest weapon. We shut down the Star Killer, or we die trying." She lifted her sword, an ancient Earth artifact reforged into a plasma-edged weapon. "For Earth!" The soldiers answered in a single explosive howl. "For Earth!" Dropships launched like a storm of meteors. The Dominion prepares. Deep within the colossal spire of the Omega Praxis, the Dominion High Marshal Kalrith watched the human fleet approaching with a grin sharp enough to cut metal. The chamber pulsed with red control lights, illuminating the monstrous weapon core suspended in magnetic fields. Rings of rotating alloy spun around it, bending reality itself like liquid. An aide trembled at his side. "Marshal, humans have breached perimeter space. They're coming directly for us. No evasive patterns, no scouting, no hesitation." Kalriff's smile widened. "Good. Let them come. Let them witness the birth of their extinction." He gestured at the crystalline control sphere. "Begin powering the singularity coil. Full acceleration." The machine hummed, growing into a scream. The surrounding space warped, visibly stars distorting like reflections in broken water. Humanity's arrogance ends today. The boarding assault. Human dropships struck the fortress structure like thunderbolts, carving molten entry points through its hull. Boarding soldiers flooded inside, weapons firing in disciplined bursts. Corridors erupted with Dominion defenders, towering armored brutes, and swarms of drone constructs. Energy bolts streaked through the air, explosions shook the entire complex. General Solis cut through drones like lightning, plasma blade cleaving metal and flesh alike. "Push forward," she shouted. "Core control is 3 levels down." But before they moved, a towering Dominion juggernaut crashed through the bulkhead, blocking the corridor. 10 feet tall, armor-plated, wielding twin plasma cleavers burning red-hot. Solis stepped forward, weapon ready. "Everyone else, move. I'll handle this." The soldiers hesitated, then obeyed, sprinting past as the monster roared. The general launched herself into battle. Aboard the Apex Sovereign, Hayes watched the battle from above, every heartbeat bringing them closer to the activation threshold. Time remaining, 23 minutes. Communications crackled. "Admiral, loss rates increasing. We need more support." Hayes turned to the helm. "Bring the Sovereign closer. Prepare spinal cannon. Target Omega Praxis power rings." Riven hesitated. "Firing at that distance could tear us apart." "Do it." The order was executed. Power surged. The flagship trembled. A colossal beam erupted from its core cannon, carving a burning line across the battlefield and striking the weapon's outer frame. Metal shattered, shock waves rippled. A cheer rose, but then the Dominion fortress responded with an energy blast that slammed into the Sovereign, sending bodies tumbling and alarms screaming. Riven steadied himself. Hull integrity failing. We can't take another hit like that. Hayes wiped blood from her brow. We don't need to. We just need to hit harder. Inside the core, Solace burst through the final barrier, scorched armor steaming. Behind her, dozens of soldiers spread out, securing positions. They reached the central control bridge. At its center floated the Singularity engine, swirling with terrifying power. Time remaining, 12 minutes. Plant charges, Solace ordered. Every second counts. Explosives were set, detonators armed. But then Kalrith entered, towering, armored in obsidian, eyes burning with fury. You will not deny destiny, he snarled. Solace stepped forward. Destiny isn't given, it's earned. They clashed. Back on the Sovereign, Riven turned to Hayes. We've lost half the fleet. Reinforcements won't arrive in time. Hayes stared at the countdown. 07:14. Then she whispered the words every officer feared and revered. Prepare the last light protocol. Riven's eyes widened. Alex, if you do that, you'll destroy the Sovereign. You'll kill everyone aboard. And save billions. No one will forgive you. They don't need to. She activated the core authorization command. Light of Earth, arming.
The countdown echoed through every chamber of the Apex Sovereign, digital numbers pulsing red. 0540, 0539, 0538. Every tick felt like the heartbeat of the galaxy itself. Admiral Alexandra Hayes stood at the bridge's command platform, face streaked with grime, sweat, and blood, her eyes like twin stars blazing with resolve. Behind her, the crew of the flagship moved in perfect coordination, every action synchronized to the rhythm of urgency. Losses were heavy, ships torn apart, comrades vaporized, but retreat was not an option. Not now. Riven, she said quietly, her voice steady. Align the Sovereign's trajectory to the Omega Praxis core. Focus all beam power on the containment rings. Divert every auxiliary reactor into the Lancer array. Riven hesitated, fingers trembling over the controls. Admiral, if we do this, the hull won't survive. Half our fleet will be vaporized from the recoil. It might even destabilize the core of Earth's orbit if something misfires. Hayes's jaw tightened. Then we make it count. Humanity doesn't survive by being safe. We survive by being relentless. Behind them, the holographic feed showed Omega Praxis, looming like a black monolith, its singularity coils spinning with terrifying power. Energy ripped the surrounding space, bending light and stretching reality. The countdown on its interface ticked inexorably. 04:12. The ground assault. Inside the Dominion Star Fortress, General Mara Solis faced her ultimate challenge. The central chamber was a cathedral of antimatter energy, walls pulsing with crimson light, the Singularity core thrumming like a beating heart. Kalrith, the Dominion High Marshal, towered before her, twin plasma cleavers crackling with lethal energy. His armor gleamed obsidian red, his eyes burning with pure fury. You cannot stop the inevitable. Even if your friends destroy themselves, the Omega Praxis will fire. Humanity will end. Solis planted her feet, gripping her plasma sword until the edges glowed white-hot. You misjudge us. We are humanity. We do not break, we do not kneel, and we do not die quietly. Kelrith lunged, moving faster than the eye could track. Solus met him with a clash of energy, sparks exploding across the room. Metal walls shuddered under the force of their blows. Around them, soldiers planted charges, racing against the ticking clock. Each second consumed precious opportunity. Solus parried and struck, her movements a blur of precision honed through countless battles. Kelrith was strong, terrifyingly strong, but the general fought with something beyond strength: willpower. Every swing, every thrust carried the weight of an entire species' survival. The Sovereign's final decision. On the bridge, Hayes watched the countdown. 0305. 0304. Every ship in the fleet transmitted damage reports. Losses were staggering, hundreds of vessels destroyed, thousands of crew members gone. And yet the fleet held. The combined fire of humans and allied species slowed Omega Praxis energy accumulation, but not enough. The weapon's singularity coil still pulsed dangerously, threatening to annihilate the solar system. Hayes turned to Riven. "We only have one shot." "Admiral, the last light protocol?" She nodded. "It's our only chance to neutralize the singularity. It will supercharge the Lancer array, channeling the energy of the Apex Sovereign into a dimensional collapse that will consume the Praxis from the inside out. But it will tear the ship apart. We may not survive." Riven swallowed hard. "And the fleet?" "We hold them back for as long as we can. After that, it's up to fate." The crew exchanged tense glances. Every officer knew what they were about to witness. Every human knew what they were about to risk. And yet there was no hesitation. Hayes activated the protocol. The Lancer array hummed like a star awakening, runes igniting in impossible patterns. Energy crackled across the hull, tearing space itself with quiet fury. The countdown in the chamber synchronized with the Praxis. 0112. 0111. 0110. The Council's chaos. Back on Auriga Prime, the Council's chamber descended into pandemonium. Melivar's betrayal had been partially exposed, his sleeper fleet revealed. Internal factions clashed, weapons drawn, accusations flying. Vorak shouted above the chaos, "Melivar, your madness will destroy us all!" Melivar sneered, "I am the only one with the foresight to prevent humanity's tyranny. If they survive, they will rule everything." But no one listened. The delegates had finally understood the truth. Humans were not conquerors, they were protectors. The vote that had earlier decided war against humanity was now reversed. Council fleets redirected to assist in stabilizing orbital defense grids. But the galaxy knew something even the Council could not know. The battle's outcome rested on Earth's courage and ingenuity alone. The climactic strike. With less than a minute remaining, the Apex Sovereign pierced the final defensive layers of Omega Praxis. Solus and her boarding teams had reached the core's control nexus. Soldiers armed the final charges, securing the perimeter. Kelrith roared and lunged for Solus. Their battle shattered the room, energy blades clashing with destructive resonance. Sparks ignited, alarms screamed, the countdown continued. Outside, the Lancer array powered to maximum output. Crystalline conduits glowing blindingly bright. The vessel groaned as energy spiraled through every system. Hayes gritted her teeth. "Now! Fire the Lancer!" Riven pressed the final command. The beam tore from the Sovereign's core like a spear of pure light. It struck the Omega Praxis singularity coil, cascading through containment rings, destabilizing the entire weapon. The fortress screamed in metal and fire. Energy arcs tore through space, the black monolith twisting under the assault. Inside, Solus engaged Kel-Rith in a final flurry of strikes, forcing him back into the reactor chamber as the charges detonated. The singularity trembled, fissures appearing across the core. Omega Praxis began to implode. The countdown hit 0. 0, 0, 0. The dimensional collapse activated. A ripple of energy tore through the fortress, consuming the Starkiller from the inside out. The colossal structure disintegrated, folding space upon itself in a brilliant cascade of light and fire. The Apex Sovereign rocked violently, energy backlash sending sparks flying, alarms blaring. Every crew member braced. For a terrifying moment, it felt as if the universe itself might rip apart. Then silence. The wreckage of the Praxis drifted as debris across empty space. The Dominion fleet, shattered, leaderless, demoralized, fled in disarray. Thousands of ships lost, entire squadrons evaporated. And humankind, battered but unbroken, floated victorious. The aftermath. In the council chamber, the hologram of the battlefield displayed the outcome. Delegates wept, some fell to their knees, others stared in silent awe. For the first time in millennia, the galaxy witnessed what humans were truly capable of. Hayes's voice projected across the chamber. We did not fight for power. We fought for survival, for hope, for every species that suffers under tyranny, and for every one of you who finally remembered what courage looked like. Vorak stepped forward, eyes filled with both relief and reverence. We underestimated you, all of us. The galaxy owes you more than it can repay. Mariath's translucent form flickered with tears. We will rebuild, together. But not everyone was humbled. In a distant chamber, Melivar seethed, surrounded by loyalists. His face twisted with rage. This is not over. Humanity will pay. Back aboard the Apex Sovereign, Hayes surveyed the aftermath of the battlefield. She saw the cost, the losses, the destruction, the sacrifice, but also the spark of something greater. Hope reborn, a galaxy united in awe of humanity's courage. Beside her, Riven said quietly, Admiral, we did it. Hayes's gaze drifted towards the stars. No, Riven. We survived. The galaxy will never forget this day.
The remnants of the Dominion fleet scattered across the outer reaches of the solar system like wounded predators. Their dreadnoughts, stripped of command cohesion, limped through debris fields and asteroid belts, constantly pursued by the human and allied forces. Every ship that dared to escape was met with relentless pursuit, a symphony of calculated strikes designed to reclaim order from chaos. Aboard the Apex Sovereign, Admiral Hayes surveyed the battlefield from the command bridge. The Lancer array was still active, stabilizing the nearby spatial anomalies left behind by the Omega Praxis collapse. The void around Saturn shimmered with energy ripples, remnants of the singularity backlash that had annihilated the Dominion's flagship and decimated the Starkiller. Status report, Hayes demanded, voice cutting through the low hum of exhausted systems. Captain Riven, still catching his breath from the last engagement, responded. Dominion survivors fragmented into small groups. Several vessels are heading toward the outer asteroid belt. We have a trajectory set for interception, but it will take hours to contain them all. Hayes's eyes narrowed. No hours, no hesitation. Set the jump coordinates, full speed pursuit. We finish this before they regroup. Behind her, General Mara Solus stepped onto the bridge, plasma sword sheathed at her side, her armor scorched from boarding the Omega Praxis. Admiral, the boarding teams recovered data from the Praxis core. There's a full map of Dominion installations. They've been hiding resources, colonies, and supply chains far beyond the reaches of Council oversight. Hayes's brow furrowed. Meaning they can rebuild unless we strike now.
Exactly, Solus replied. And there's one more thing. Melivar. He's disappeared into the outer fringe with a fleet loyal only to himself. He's planning something. Hayes's jaw tightened. Then we hunt him. We end this. The Council finally acts. Across Auriga Prime, the Galaxy Council scrambled to restore order. Delegates coordinated fleets that had been fractured by Melivar's betrayal, finally moving in unison. For the first time, the Council acted with clarity, unified against a common threat. High Scholar Athelish addressed the Assembly, voice amplified through the chamber. We have witnessed humanity's courage and strategy. To allow Melivar to manipulate the remnants of the Dominion would be a crime against all life. This council will not fail again. Vorak's massive frame loomed over the floor, claws clicking against the crystal panels. We must not falter. Every ship, every fleet, every operative must engage. Humanity will not fight alone. The galaxy stands with them. The Council authorized full-scale pursuit operations. Every jump-capable vessel moved toward the coordinates of Melivar's escape, their fleets forming tight phalanxes in preparation for final confrontation. The final hunt. In the shadowed depths of the Kuiper Belt, Melivar's fleet made its last stand. His dreadnought, black as a void between stars, glimmered with hidden weaponry, a combination of Dominion technology and stolen Council enhancements. Surrounding him, a dozen loyal cruisers formed a protective perimeter, shields blazing crimson. Melivar's eyes burned with fanatic determination. If humanity survives, it will dominate every world. That cannot happen. I will ensure that order returns, by force if necessary. He activated his fleet's cloaking field, disappearing into the darkness of the asteroid belt. But humanity was not blind. The Apex Sovereign, leading a coalition fleet of human and allied vessels, initiated a calculated sweep of the Kuiper Belt. Quantum sensors, refined during the Praxis assault, detected minute energy fluctuations, subtle leaks from the cloaking field. Hayes grinned grimly. They can hide, but they can't vanish. Riven nodded. We'll flush them out. Every asteroid, every crevice, nothing escapes us. The fleet split into strike groups, weaving through massive ice formations. Mines were deployed, gravitic nets flung, and hidden cannons positioned to target potential escape routes. Every maneuver was precise, a choreography designed for total domination of the battlefield. Engagement with Melivar. At last, Melivar's flagship was cornered. The cloaking field faltered under sustained sensor scans, revealing its jagged black hull. Hayes's voice resonated across comms. Melivar, surrender. This ends today. Melivar's face appeared on a channel, calm, icy, and unwavering. You misunderstand your victory, Admiral. Humanity's arrogance blinds you. You will not win, because order is not something you can create. It must be enforced. Solus, standing behind Hayes, spat. Order? You call betrayal, mass murder, and tyranny order? You are a monster. Melivar's grin was cold and unfeeling. I am a necessity. Without warning, Melivar triggered a sequence on his dreadnought. A pulsating energy field erupted, forming massive temporal distortions around his fleet. Time within these pockets slowed drastically, making attack maneuvers unpredictable. Temporal anomalies, Riven yelled. We can't hit them consistently. They're phasing out of sync. Hayes's eyes sharpened. Then we fight smarter, not harder. Lock onto residual quantum emissions from their propulsion systems. That's the key. Target the engines, disable mobility, precision strikes only. Fleet formations adjusted. Long-range quantum lances fired, piercing shields with surgical accuracy. One by one, Melivar's cruisers faltered under relentless assault. Melivar's dreadnought loomed like a shadow, powering up secondary weapon arrays. Hayes realized she had to take decisive action. Prepare the Lancer again, focused strike on his main hull, now or never. The Apex Sovereign's Lancer array powered up, casting long shadows across the battlefield. Energy rippled across its crystalline frame, humming like a living thing. The duel, Solus versus Melivar. While fleet actions continued, Mara Solus led a boarding team to Melivar's flagship. The corridors were silent, eerily calm after the previous chaos. Soldiers advanced, plasma weapons ready, as alarms blared around them. Kael'rith's remaining lieutenants had fallen. Solus faced Melivar in the core chamber, a cathedral of black energy and red light. "You can't hide behind tricks and shadows," she said. "It's over." Melivar activated an energy blade of pure antimatter, its hum resonating through the chamber. Perhaps. But destiny favors those willing to seize it. They clashed. Sparks flew. Energy rippled across the walls. Every strike carried the weight of billions. Every parry the determination of a species fighting for its survival. Solus moved with fluid grace, her blade cutting through defenses, her mind calculating every opening. Melivar was strong, clever, and ruthless. He anticipated attacks with deadly precision. But Solus had something else, the unyielding will of humanity and its allies, the hope of every life they had sworn to protect. Above them, the Apex Sovereign unleashed the Lancer array. The concentrated beam struck Melivar's dreadnought directly, destabilizing power cores. The ship shuddered violently, systems failing, shields collapsing. Solus used the distraction, disarming Melivar and forcing him to his knees. "It's over," she said, voice resolute. Melivar's eyes blazed, a final defiance flashing. "You may win today, but humanity will remember. The price." Before he could act, Solus drove her plasma blade into the dreadnought's power nexus. A brilliant flash erupted, energy cascading through the ship, tearing it apart from the inside. The vessel disintegrated in a controlled implosion. Temporal anomalies collapsed. The remaining Dominion loyalists, seeing their leader destroyed, surrendered or fled into the void. Victory and aftermath. The battlefield fell silent. Human and allied ships regrouped, assessing losses. Thousands of Dominion survivors were captured. Many ships too damaged to escape drifted lifelessly in the Kuiper Belt. Hayes's voice broadcast across the fleet. "Today, the galaxy has witnessed what humanity is capable of when pushed to the edge. We did not seek domination, we sought survival, and we have shown that unity and courage can overcome even the darkest tyranny." Solus, standing beside Hayes on the command platform, exhaled heavily. "We've done it. After everything." Hayes placed a hand on her shoulder. "Not just for us. For every species that suffered under the Dominion, for every world the Council abandoned, we've proven something today. Humans are not to be underestimated." The Council, humbled and chastened, sent delegations to join the newly unified alliance. High Scholar Athelis spoke directly to Hayes. "We have been blind for centuries. Humanity has taught us what courage, strategy, and will truly mean. We are in your debt." Hayes smiled faintly. "Then let's rebuild. Together." Above them, the stars burned bright and unbroken. The galaxy had survived. Humanity had survived. And the echoes of their victory would resonate across civilizations for centuries to come.
The war was over, but the galaxy was forever changed. From the ruins of the Dominion's fleet and the shattered Omega Praxis, humanity and its allies emerged not only victorious, but revered. Word of Earth's bravery spread like wildfire through every star system. Planets that had once cowered under Dominion influence now reached out, offering allegiance, resources, and knowledge. The galaxy had witnessed the impossible. Humans defying extinction, reshaping the course of history with courage, ingenuity, and indomitable will. Aboard the Apex Sovereign, the crew worked tirelessly to stabilize the vessel, patch hull breaches, and revive systems crippled during the final assault on Omega Praxis.
Admiral Hayes walked among her officers, nodding in acknowledgement, her gaze heavy with the weight of command, yet filled with pride. Captain Riven approached her, holding a holopad detailing recovery operations across the solar system. Admiral, casualty reports are complete. Losses were heavy. Thousands of crew, countless ships, but the majority survived. The Council fleets are assisting with planetary repairs and civilian evacuation protocols. Earth will endure. Hayes nodded, lips tight. Survivors are everything. Rebuild, remember, and honor those who gave everything. Humanity doesn't forget. We move forward. We adapt. Rebuilding and unity. On Auriga Prime, the Galaxy Council convened once more, not as rulers dictating from a distance, but as collaborators with humanity. The devastation had humbled even the oldest delegates. Athelos addressed the chamber, voice carrying both solemnity and hope. Today we acknowledge a truth long ignored. Humans are not to be underestimated, not because of brute strength alone, but because of resilience, creativity, and the courage to act when all else fails. Let this be the beginning of a new era, an era of shared responsibility, shared courage, and shared prosperity. Vorak, scarred but standing tall, spoke with authority. For too long, the Council has been cautious to the point of inaction. We failed those under threat, but no more. From this day forward, the Council will act not out of fear, but guided by wisdom and by the example set by humanity. Even species that had long distrusted humans offered their respect. The Thalrene emissaries, their serpentine forms coiling with pride, declared formal alliance. The crystalline Kelaris extended technology-sharing treaties. Across the galaxy, species once oppressed under Dominion rule came forward with knowledge, eager to rebuild and strengthen ties with Earth. Personal reconciliations. Admiral Hayes finally had a moment to speak with General Mara Solis and Captain Riven in the ship's observation deck, the stars stretching infinitely beyond. Solis, still clad in slightly scorched armor, leaned against the railing. "We did it, but at such a cost. I can't stop thinking about those we lost, those who didn't make it off the Praxis." Hayes placed a hand on her shoulder. "We honor them not by mourning endlessly, but by living and ensuring their sacrifice was not in vain. Humanity survives because of them, Mara, and now the galaxy knows their names." Riven joined them, placing a hand on the console. "What comes next? We've survived the impossible, but there's no guarantee the Dominion remnants won't rise again." Hayes' eyes narrowed, thoughtful but unwavering. "We rebuild stronger. We fortify. We share knowledge with every willing species. They'll remember humanity not as conquerors, but as defenders. We've earned their trust, and we will not betray it." A galaxy reforged. Across the rebuilt solar system, new colonies emerged. Earth became a hub of interstellar diplomacy, technology, and culture. Human leadership emphasized collaboration over domination, offering assistance in rebuilding efforts, disaster relief, and defense initiatives. Former Dominion worlds were liberated, their populations guided towards self-governance with human advisors providing mentorship. Once subjugated species gained autonomy, while new trade networks and alliances flourished. The Council, once fractured and hesitant, now operated as a unified body, coordinating galaxy-wide projects in defense, exploration, and scientific advancement. Humans took advisory roles in interstellar law, space traffic safety, and emergency response, never as rulers, but as respected equals. The galaxy had learned an essential lesson. Courage, ingenuity, and moral resolve, qualities embodied by humanity, could inspire entire civilizations, reshape politics, and prevent tyranny. The legacy of HFY. Stories of the war against the Dominion and Omega Praxis became legendary. Songs, holodramas, and historical archives recorded humanity's resilience and brilliance. Children across planets learned the tale of the Apex Sovereign, of Admiral Hayes, General Solis, and countless others who had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious. For many, it became a creed: never underestimate humans. Not because they were aggressive, but because they embodied hope, determination, and the unyielding will to survive and protect others. Even those who had once doubted Earth's people, the Council, former adversaries, skeptical species, now carried the lesson. Humanity's strength lay not merely in weapons or technology, but in their relentless ingenuity and the ability to inspire others to rise alongside them. A quiet moment on Earth. On the restored surface of Earth, the planet's citizens celebrated survival and renewal. Cities rebuilt, green spaces flourished, and the night sky glimmed with newly established orbital colonies. Admiral Hayes, standing atop the rebuilt command center, gazed upward. The stars seemed familiar and yet different, each one a witness to the galaxy's rebirth. Beside her, General Solis spoke quietly. "Do you ever wonder what comes next? After everything, will the galaxy truly remember humanity's example?" Hayes smiled faintly, lips curving with quiet pride. "They already have. They'll remember that humanity faced extinction and chose courage, unity, and integrity. They'll remember that even in the darkest moments, humans rise. And if they ever forget, we'll remind them." Riven approached, hands behind his back. "And what about us? What about those who led the charge?" Hayes looked at her crew, battered but unbroken. "We've done our part. The rest belongs to the galaxy now, and to every future human who carries the spark of courage forward." A quiet moment passed. The stars stretched endlessly, and for the first time in months, the air felt lighter. The galaxy was healing, and humanity had earned its place among the stars. The shadows linger. Far beyond the edge of explored space, remnants of the Dominion slinked through darkness. Scattered, weakened, but not gone. Whispers of Melivar surviving acolytes traveled along the fringes of uncharted systems. Yet no one doubted that humanity, strengthened by experience and allied with countless species, would face whatever came next with the same unyielding resolve. In the council chambers, Vorak declared, "We now know the measure of a species' heart. Let us ensure that heart never breaks again. Humanity has shown the galaxy the way forward." And somewhere, deep in orbit above Earth, the Apex Sovereign drifted among the stars, silent and majestic, a testament to the courage, ingenuity, and indomitable will of humans.